Hello and welcome to the skating lesson. I'm Dave Lees.
And I'm Jonathan Byer, also wearing a turtleneck, Dave.
Turtleneck not planned. This is the skating lesson. We are here to bring you our recap of the 2022 Olympic Games men's competition. So if you are new here, please subscribe below and smash that like button. Lots of things going on. Exciting world, shit happening all Jonathan, it's
endlessly.
Lunacy.
Yeah.
Endlessly.
Yeah.
People are gonna want to know, what do you think about Kamila Valieva? I've obviously talked about my position here. What is your take? Okay. I feel like your heart is going to go out to obviously this 15-year-old girl who is potentially going to be robbed of an Olympic experience. They're also
I believe an innocent victim. Yes, 100%.
Yeah. What do you think the IOC should do?
What do I think they should do, or what will they do? It's also a question of IOC and ISU. I have been enjoying your As the Blade Turns, and I concur, like, with all of it, because this notion that the loophole may be her age sends such a funny message that, like, oh, it's fine, just dope only if you're a minor. Whatever excuse they may come up with, it's just, this is a substance that's on the banned list. End of story. There was no exemption.
About this for years on here, and it gets picked up elsewhere. But I'm on one hand, I think that it's really unfortunate this happened, and I also think that it's really good that this happened, because this has been an open secret for years, especially in figure skating. The more time you talk about figure skaters, the more time they tell you about doping when they are at Grand Prix assignments. And the thing is that there's a different mentality in different countries. In the US, if someone is doping, it's more individualized. It's their decision. It's not state sponsored as it is in other countries. In no way do I think that Kamila Valieva is to blame for any of this. In no way did a 15-year-old girl who potentially, if she was given this drug in December, for all we know, she could have been on this drug for years. Okay. She could have been on several drugs for years. When we look at the acceleration, when we look at, why are there 11-year-olds doing quads? You start to think, well, how early does this start? And what kind of a system is involved? And perhaps some coaches are more ruthless than others. And you can go through it and start to see that there are clear signs. And there are also experiences and anecdotes that skaters will talk about. There are certain pair skaters who train with Nina Mosier who have stories, and there are certain things that we hear. There was a Russian skater who trained at the cricket club who was very open about things that took place there. So, these things have become more, and they become louder and louder and louder over the last several years. So I think the
timing is interesting, just as we had just done our recap on medaling. And I think you bring up some great points in the most recent As the Blade Turns also, because so many things were at play there. The IOC and the ISU were ready to do what they're doing now. Vague, no comment, it takes time, it's legal consultation. By the way, never ask about this again, we'll never resolve it. But the difference in Salt Lake City was no one would let up. The Canadian Federation got involved. Right now, no federation is involved except for Russia sort of speaking out. If Japan, if Canada, if the US, I think if those federations decided to get involved because it affects their teams in the team event, and they put pressure the way Canada was putting pressure on a decision, something might happen. But it's very clear everybody's kind of hands off right now. So I see it just going away.
It seems to be behind the scenes. There are things happening. And then everyone knows that it's Valieva, but because she's 15, they never officially named her in any report yet because she is in a protected status. So then, of course, the Russians are saying there's no official information. People are going to write in this video, you're gossips, you're spreading lies, you're spreading gossip, all of this stuff.
But just to clarify, they did confirm it is a minor in the event, and the only minor in the event is Valieva. Yeah. Yes.
We're not idiots, Jonathan, right? The whole world knows this, right? And people are trying to play games. And there are fans that don't want to believe this so desperately. And I think it's really hard when you're someone that loves skating to understand that the other side of human nature also takes place, and perhaps takes place more in a judged subjective sport, right? And I think that it's really hard because you want to believe that everyone we all have a love of the art of skating, right?
Yes.
But when we get to the art of when you get to the competition, that's completely different. What happens and what that brings out of people and what it means in certain countries. Talking to someone who I'm close with was saying, at the end of the day, why do they care so much?
Because they institutionally have been taught to care so much from day one. That's why Katarina's comment was very interesting. Grew up in a system that cared so much.
This is interesting. But Nathan Chen won the gold medal last night, right? In no way yes, I'm American, he's American, it's great, I have a moment of pride, but I have a moment of pride is in that I have seen him and filmed, watched him practice and watched him compete. And I once saw him at nationals in junior in Boston when he slammed down on the ice and then got up and landed a triple axel on the other side right after falling. And it's impressive. We saw him when he was in 2010 doing Peter and the Wolf for, whatever year that was.
Right.
But in no way do I think that Nathan's success is solely a reflection on America. Now, obviously, we have a United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. Obviously, they are funding them in part because it's a reflection of the US and it's sports propaganda. There are roots in that. But in no way am I going to turn around and be like, you are afraid of America, you hate America. I know someone else, if they hate Chen skating, I'd be like, oh, you don't like his skating. It's very different when it comes into someone's national identity and fabric. And there's different things going on here with this and with how certain countries respond. Unfortunately, Russia's already in trouble. We're already at the point where they don't have their flag or their anthem here. Now, many people don't think that that's a harsh enough penalty. And as my boss said,
clearly hasn't changed any behavior. Yeah.
My boss who worked in politics was like, what are they doing? Like, they're already basically on probation at the Olympics. And you're like,
are they?
But are they? Was that a punishment to them? Or was that a cover-up?
Right.
And you start to, so people said, oh, well, her coach should be banned. But it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. I think the tell is if you look at the coverage, it's not what coaches or who gave this 15-year-old this medication.
Exactly right.
It's the Americans are out to get us. Now, the next question is, why is it coming out now? And people, this is a question. Now, when Yelena Berezhnaya tested positive for Sudafed, remember, she tested positive at the Europeans in 2000. We didn't find out until the Worlds about her test results from prior. So there is a time lag here. Now, December to here, it's about 6-7 weeks that we're finding out. That's a little bit of a longer amount of time. There is some indication that it's because she's a minor. This stuff is not super quick. It's not like when you pee in a cup and then your parents check for drugs. It doesn't work that fast, obviously. And there are also political machinations going on behind the scenes. So you have to kind of wonder exactly what is going on.
Because wouldn't we have assumed that as the European Championship winner, that all of those medalists were also tested after the competition?
Yes, but this is believed to have been an out of competition testing that took place.
I got it. I see what's happening.
And then people say, but she's fine here at the Olympics. Yeah, because the benefit in training is so huge. If you're getting a benefit every day that you can train more and more and more.
That's when you need it. For this sport, I thought that was it. This is the other thing that happens every Olympics in general. Happy to have new people watching. But this is when all of the misinformation begins, and today fans are
hundreds watch the sport all the time because
and they don't
want to believe that someone is doing something. It's really hard. It was so funny is that there was a skater from France who was on the Junior Grand Prix who would always, anytime we would point out things about eteri, would always write the nastiest comments about us. He was the first one to message me the other day being like, what's going on? What's happening? What do you know? And I said, wait a second. Whoa. What are all those things you've written about me?
Right. It's a real thing, but because now, as you said, with the gaslighting that's happening in a myriad of channels, because they're just trying to get all these things out there to cause doubt in it. But one of which is it's not performance enhancing. But again, this is a sport where you don't need the biggest amount of muscle mass at the time in which you compete. You need that stamina while you're training. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what this is designed to do. Yeah.
Interesting thing. So allegedly, there are skaters from a certain school, not singles, not a singles school, that were being given drugs that were believed to do something with lactic acid. And that's in your recovery. And it's interesting because Michael Phelps naturally only produces, I believe, 50% of the lactic acid of a normal person. And I thought this, I was really thinking about this the other day, is that he has a natural biological advantage based on his genetic makeup in the fact that he doesn't feel the same like delayed onset muscle soreness that you or I would if we went and swam, 10 miles, how sore we would be the next day. He's only half as sore. So every day he's able to swim, say, twice as much as you or I would.
Push harder. Yeah.
Push harder.
Yeah.
And think of the day after day after day after day, how much better you get, what that advantage does. So then when we actually see someone who is pushing the sport forwards with quads, and you think, wait a second, someone could say at the end result, and this has been said in the rink today, you give Karen Chen a bag full of pills, you think she's going to be any better? Well, what if you were giving Karen Chen a bag full of pills from the time that she was 10
all
years
summer
old?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
What about if she started taking those pills when she was 10? And I'm not saying Karen Chen is taking any pills. I'm saying if you gave an athlete pills when they're 10 and they're training day after day after day after day after day, doing those extra repetitions, when their body is going to look different, a lot of things are going to happen that we're going to start to see. And I think that when you're looking and everyone just wants to believe, oh, they're so much better, there may be other things that are at stake here. Also,
besides your national heritage, there's something at play in the huge spread that's going on with this.
Not just the technique and not just, it's not a pleasant conversation.
And it's unfortunate because, like you said, these three girls in their own right, each one individually has something so cool
and
that
they all
offer
worked
the
hard.
sport.
By the way, we're not saying they did not work hard.
No, the whole point is
work.
so they can work even harder. Yeah, I mean, so they have definitely put in the hours, but.
And it's not any of their faults. No, I do have to say that I do question the parents.
Well, see, I wondered if in this system, if I even went to some sort of summer camp as a kid, I'm sure my parents signed something that said, yeah, if something happens, do what you think is best. I am sure there is something that is covering the tracks that like the parents relinquish control of certain medical decisions to the team when they go. Don't you think?
Don't you also think that success is brainwashing?
Oh, sure. I mean, the parents have to want it to go there also. Yeah.
So if you think about it, you see what happens to the girls who win. You see what a star, Zagitova, Medvedeva, all, they're on TV and they have contracts and they're huge stars. You want that too. You wanted that chance. You're more willing to overlook or do things that maybe you didn't think were in your ethical makeup, or maybe, and you're doing the advice of people that seem to have your best interest at heart, or they know how to get to the top. You're going to trust them and you're not going to question things as much. Because
they're the professionals. Yes, yeah. You assume they know more. But you also, I mean, you brought up a great point about the countries being different. I feel if we were talking about an American athlete right now who is 15 years old, caught taking this strange medication that a 15-year-old should not be taking, the media would pounce. This is not, it does not depend what country.
Steve Brennan would be asking the parents, where did you get, why are you giving that 15-year-old girl medication for this? Where did you get it? They would be attacking the
coaches' pictures would be plastered on and calling them criminals. And look what they've done to this child.
In Russia, they go blame America.
Right.
Interesting. We don't go blame the Russians. No, No. I will say Lance Armstrong was protected for a long time. But when it came out that he actually was doping,
we turned immediately.
Disgust. Yeah. People hate him. People think he is horrible. Now, there were institutions that protected him for a long time, but it was not the government that was protecting him, and that's where we get into things.
Yes, right now, all of the people making the most noise in favor of just let this go, let everything be, no one's asking why that's in her system. Not one person. It's like, how did you find out? Why does this even matter? She's so young, and there's no sort of like, is this appropriate to be giving a 15-year-old girl? Like, what's happening here? I just don't understand.
Use some logic. Where there's mouse, there's mice, right?
Right. You're right.
If one girl has it, what about the others who are competing? Now, obviously, legally, they're allowed to compete. Okay. But I am looking skeptically at why is their rotation so much better here than we've seen earlier in the season.
Right. Right. And just to constantly say, well, they trained better, they trained harder. And it's like, yeah, you're sort of explaining exactly what we think happened. It is possible they trained harder before this event. And we're wondering if there was help in doing so. But as the people who test are concerned, are they allowed to preemptively test? Or it could be considered very discriminatory to now just pick other people to test. I would almost call like an emergency, like clamp down, everyone gets tested right now.
Well, I don't even know if it would matter.
Yeah, clearly it doesn't. Clearly it doesn't. Yeah.
Allegedly, if you read Rodchenkov's book and you talk to anyone who's been through these, listen, some of these cultures have trained in the US and not everything is so hidden here as you would like. People talk, right?
Right.
There are sports and countries and supplements that are taken until a certain amount of time, and you cut off 5 to 7 days before a competition. Right. Now, in certain countries, in the US, USADA tests, and USADA doesn't want our athletes to do, to dope. But Grigory Rodchenkov was the head of RUSADA. And in his book, they weren't being anti-doping, they were almost being pro-doping, but make sure that you can test clean at the right moments. So it would be different. And he talked about when people would get caught when the World Anti-Doping Agency would come in for certain things, and that they would have to throw so many sacrificial lambs and things. I mean, it's a really fascinating book to read. I would look at the fact that certain times calculations get amiss, and he talked about we messed something up in
the ratios. The
ratios, someone tested positive. I would look at the fact that why is the Russian doctor so front and center at every competition, taking pictures with the athletes,
the anesthesiologist
who's at the boards, who's there but not doing any concussion checks, and why is he there, especially after he gave Ekaterina Bobrova meldonium in 2016 after...
Are we supposed to say it that way now instead of meldonium? Meldonium?
I mean, that's how I've heard it pronounced, but...
I've accidentally always said meldonium. Meldonium sounds much more elegant. Yeah.
Listen, tomato, I don't know.
Either way, it's not allowed. Yeah.
But was allowed when Tuktamisheva won all those world titles, although you can see that there was a performance-enhancing benefit during that time. So, and
then a real drop. Yeah.
Real drop physically and in terms of, her body and having effects. So very interesting things that we have lived through. Look at the performance of the Russian athletes in Sochi and how they were able to perform so strongly. And then most of them were injured for the next several seasons.
Right.
Things that happened. Okay.
Right.
The athletes who were strong in 2015 weren't strong in 2014. It was just very interesting.
The other thing you brought up that I think is really important to note is that in 2002, on our end, we had one Scott and Sandra giving us that narrative from the get-go. And we know that right now we have two very pro-eteri commentators that are probably going to steer clear of this if they can.
We have thus far.
Yeah.
If you go back to review the coverage. So we were on our live watching it with their commentary, but I did go back and check. Yeah.
And nothing. I would imagine almost.
Harry was the only one who could talk.
Right.
But I also think he's the only one who graduated high school between.
Right. Now we're not talking about fun zingers or about an entrance to a Saukow. Now we're talking about substantial content here, and I think they got lost in the depth of that. They wouldn't know how to handle it.
This is NBC's fault because Scott and Sandra, whether you like them or didn't like them, were trained to be commentating professionals, sports professionals, and they were groomed in that way. Johnny and Tara have really been quasi-entertainment. You see them in Project Runway, you see them at the Kentucky Derby in hats. We saw them at the Super Bowl. We saw them at a podcast where they talked about partying. Now they have a very serious Olympic situation taking place, but they've been groomed to be entertainment and not
substance.
So they've actually been doing their job. This is higher up from them as well. So
yeah.
I mean, that's just how NBC views sport, and that's a legitimate.
And it's clumsy because, as we mentioned before, after the team event, it's clear that the sort of angle, knowing that there are no North American women that are really relevant in the individual competition, we got all of North America behind Valieva. Mm-hmm. Like, we got everyone excited about Valieva. Everyone contacted me. She's gorgeous. She's amazing. She's going to win. Do you love her? Blah, 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 blah. Because now I think the public is excited to root for someone who may win. And this sort of tripped up their narrative, I think they were trying to sculpt.
I also just want to say, but I do think that Tara and Johnny could both be substantive if they were implored and tasked to be substantive. I think Tara's recent documentary that she did with her husband proved that she can be quite substantive. And Sandra Bezic, who was interviewed, said that Tara was very hands-on in the process of making the documentary, asked tons of questions, did tons of research. And I think that the final product really shows that. It could be true for Johnny. I think that NBC encourages them to have the wardrobe and the theatrics, and to that be the added interest.
Yeah, I do think it's producer driven. Yeah.
I just wanted to make that clear in this. I do think that they are performing a job, and that this is NBC saw something that was working on cable and they moved it to prime time. And this is an issue when, maybe that was the wrong move, right?
And we'll talk about it. I mean, when we were talking to Zagorodniuk, like Mark, I'm thinking of someone like Mark, who's out there skating the men's event, drained emotionally, I think, from the team event itself, where he gave it his all, but also knowing all of these skaters knew there was going to be this press conference, which ultimately yielded zero information. But I think many of them wondered about their team medal, as it was hanging in limbo as they were competing their individual long program.
It is a cloud over the whole team, and it will impact their performances. Certainly more people are going to be looking at them. I mean, I think you could look back to different situations that took place, in gymnastics in 2000. Everyone else starts looking and you start wondering, what does this mean for my result? And what does this mean, for my...
And some of the legal issues involved, I had anticipated. It's not just, let's say, in a world where they're going to vacate the gold from Russia in the team event, do you just merely move everyone up a spot, or do you go a little bit more in depth and move points around? Not that it would change the result of this team event, but they are about to set a precedent on what happens in the future if someone withdraws.
That's the
disqualified.
I really am of two minds of this, and I just want to kind of talk through here, because I love to watch the performances of the Russian skaters. Okay,
yes.
I'm also disgusted with the knowledge of knowing what goes into producing those results.
Right.
It's the same thing as if you go back and watch gymnastics from 2012, and what Dr. Nasser is doing to the Fierce Five while they're competing, you have an entirely different reaction as you're watching it and seeing the adults and knowing what goes on to get what is happening, right? So I think that it's like that kind of a situation, and you want the people to be held accountable. And I think what we're seeing time and time again in figure skating especially is that there are certain countries that are not held accountable, and there are certain behaviors that are allowed to really proliferate. And I think that is, but at the same time, I don't want necessarily to watch her. Here's the thing, I want to watch Kamila Valieva at the Olympics, but I don't think that she should be eligible to compete here. Should her test positive? No, I'm sorry, but you're out.
Yeah,
because the rule is a rule, and I feel bad for her because she's a 15-year-old girl. But at the same time, what does it mean about the sport and integrity and doping if you were to let someone go in? And
you feel bad for her, but do you not then also feel bad for whoever's going to place below her who didn't have that boost?
Exactly. And what does it say to those athletes? If she's allowed to compete, then it says to everyone, fine. Take whatever. Have 5 habits.
Well, that's the old Christine line, where it's like, now we're competing for the best chemist who can make the body do the craziest thing in training.
Really interesting thing. Yelim Kim got a formal sanction from the ISU for being 45 minutes late to a test at a junior Grand Prix once, in, I believe, 2016. You look back at Carolina Costner was suspended for 2 years from competition. It was supposed to be 4. It wound up getting reduced, if you recall, because her boyfriend was trying to
covered for
test, and she covered it up. You look at what the thing is here, and unfortunately, Kamila's 15, but the people who gave this to her are not 15, right? And those people are still going to be doing it. And unfortunately, if Kamila is allowed to compete, it says that those people's actions are allowed to continue.
It's 100% a sign. It's a green light. It says, yep, sorry about the snafu with the press. No problem. Keep at it. Yeah.
So I think
100%.
that's what's really so disgusting here. It's not like you can just ban a judge. It doesn't work like that. People are saying, just ban eteri. Well, it's clear that if you look at how this situation is being handled, no one's even questioning eteri, although she is having a little bit of a lower profile here than usual.
Then probably she anticipated. And for instance, the NBC fluff piece, we know that Johnny went to Russia to do with eteri. I
certainly
could be some pretty now. It could be bad optics to do that. Yeah, it's unfortunate. And again, like you say, every newspaper, every article, it's a big picture of Valieva, not a big picture of those 3 on the team and the doctor. You know, it reminds me a little bit, not really, but sort of in the way that Monica Lewinsky said, that scandal is known as the Monica Lewinsky scandal.
Not the
Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky scandal. It's really, that sort of machine is in play already, I think.
I've always felt this way too. And we have many friends, and there's so many people who felt that Kim Yuna deserved to win the 2014 Olympics, but they hate Adelina Sotnikova for it, right? And I've always felt
not Adelina's fault.
Not Adelina's fault. She didn't write her own marks. She did compete there and skate, but the enmity is projected onto her when it needs to be projected on Alla Shahovskaya and the other people that really made that result possible. And that is where, and it's really tarnished her entire career for around the world. I think everyone looks at Adelina sideways. In Russia,
we have a mental asterisk next to her name at that games. Yeah,
of course. The same thing will happen to Kamila if she competes in this individual event and wins.
Right.
Also, I think at this point, for any of them to compete, I mean, it's becoming such a circus. Everyone's watching her skate because they're parading her out there to look like, oh, she's innocent, she's skating. See, she's going to be able to go in an individual event. And that narrative is trying to be pushed. So, but let's talk about happier things in Nathan Chen. You know, we did cover some of this with Slava, so we don't want to double up. There's a little bit of a language snafu. Plus, we know that you like to get our opinions as well. Yeah. Jonathan, what'd you make of, you know, watching him compete after 4 years ago?
They made some music changes to this Rocket Man, right? And so I just want to commend Nathan and his team, whatever. They placed some of his big jump elements at the most amazing parts in the music. The opening quad combo. It's like a boom, boom, right in the music. And he is right on time with both of those. And then the crescendo into that big moment for that quad Lutz towards the end. It was exactly that Olympic moment that we see so many people fail to craft. Listen, I don't think that the Elton John program is necessarily the highest work of art that's ever been created, but this is what we were talking about. It tugged at all the emotional strings because the music told me to feel it. His clean jumping told me to feel it. And Nathan allowed me to feel it when he started feeling that release before the step work sequence. I mean, it's clear he's done a lot of mental preparation because I felt like as he looked around, he was maybe even told to take in that moment. Like maybe at some moment, just take it all in. And he took it all in and kind of had a little smug smile. Smug sounds negative, like a nice smile. And it was joyous to watch.
I did feel reflective watching him skate because it was an interesting situation. Sorry, I just got a text from Christine Brennan of a tweet that she sent. So we will opt in that one second. When I was watching Nathan, I did feel like he knew he had a lead coming in.
Yeah.
He knew the other men ahead of him were not flawless. He knew that their plan would win. And we talk with Slava. Slava, who works with Raphael, was telling us that Nathan is always worried about his quad sow. If you were on our live show last night, Jenny said, "Oh, his quad sow always makes me so nervous." As we were watching this in real time, when he lands the quad sow, you see a level of him start to be like, when he lands the quad lats, he knew. And as he was coming around and when he starts pointing, and you could see he was starting to like really enjoy his Olympic performance. And I was thinking about it, how rare it is to see someone really enjoy the win as it's happening. You know, we all enjoy things as it takes, you know.
I'm sorry to bring it up. It's like, and it wasn't a great moment for me in the time, but Tara's scream after she did that final jumping pass, like whatever you feel about the two skaters involved of that Olympics, all this sort of stuff, I think everyone knows where we all stand, but like there was something to that sheer just adrenaline pumping. Same even, I revisited it with medaling. You see Jamie and David experience it, although I loved the Russians, but like just when someone is emoting that big and having that moment, Michelle at the end of the Tosca at Nationals, you know that she knew she just had done the thing she wanted to do. That's incredible.
With Nathan, it felt like it almost went on for 2 minutes. It just got bigger and bigger with each jumping pass, that he knew he had done it. At a certain point, he had put it out of reach. And it's so enjoyable to watch it. When he does get to that final step sequence, you just see someone having fun, even though I did worry he was going to trip again like Nationals. At a certain point, he got a little but he did take us on an emotional ride with him, and I felt more from him emotionally because of the moment than we always do with his performance. I think going back to Elton John was correct. What were those awful programs that he had at the start of the season? Thank God. But
they made sure that these didn't seem stale at this point. So I think there was a method to it. I think it worked.
Great. Elton John tweeted, perfect pop culture moment, achieved. So really smart all around than the horrible, terrible, ugly program he had at the start of the season.
Correct.
Interesting to read that Raphael said that they planned to fake people out with the quad loop earlier in the season, that it wasn't really in their plans, and that Raphael said that he knew that Hanyu's jumps would fail at a certain point. I'm guessing he's talking about the quad lutz and the quad axel. And he was relieved that Nathan lost in Vegas in hindsight. He said that we wanted not to win, but to dominate. He also told Mariah Bell, he said that he didn't fight that hard for Mariah Bell. Well, you weren't good enough, is what he said to her.
Yeah. Well, if they didn't pick you, I guess it's because you weren't good enough. Yeah. Yowzers. Not a motivating tool for me personally. Hope that motivated Mariah instead of made her feel bad.
How about when all the fans were like, why isn't Raphael with Mariah at this competition? And you're like, do I have to be the one to say this? Like,
I know. Yeah, exactly. Like, wait for the interview to come out. Yeah.
Yelena Vaitzahovskaya, call Raphael. Get him to say.
Exactly. He'll tell you.
Raphael even will say things to the Russian press that he won't say in the US press. He knows what he's doing. Okay. Yeah. I have to say, Yuma, I do think Yuma's like some acting and performance lessons away from becoming a really impactful skater. I do think the next 2 years could really be his time at the top of the sport.
Because in terms of the PCS, like for the skating skills, Mark, it is big skating and it is fast skating. So the ingredients are there to easily keep rewarding this PCS. I think some facial involvement. Now I would imagine, you know, a lot of his success came at such a goofy time with limited or no audiences also. And I think the more the audiences he gets in front of, the more he'll be able to project from here, which leads me into our wonderful Yuzuru Hanyu, who I think he has become accustomed to. We know how nutty his fans can be with the death threats to Mosellev and all this sort of nonsense about the divot. And who
divot
must not love this sport.
That he never brought to the referee, that divot?
Exactly. And that affected no one else and all this sort of stuff. And well, whatever, that's beside the point, because I think his fan base is so immense that we know that every competition, every competitor will mention what that energy is like. Every organizer has to plan for extra time for this, extra time for the cheering. If you are used to such a massive amount of crowd encouragement and support, he might be the one who felt the biggest difference when suddenly it was quiet. That's a Hanyu calling to just absolutely find out my address and come get me.
It's our friend not calling. If you've been on
okay. Yes,
I think she's probably calling about Christine Brennan's tweet. So I'll just read it here while we are here. Christine said that according to WADA code and ISU rules, Kamila Valieva should not be practicing USADA's Travis Tigert. There is no minor exception for provisional suspension. So we do know that provisional measures are taking place, even though people will say, there's no official rule yet. What are you doing? This is rumors. This is gossip. It has to be implemented. It's a substance that requires provisional suspension, and her practice is a violation.
Well, and you know, when we've had Christine on before in Hot Topic Moments, she will, whatever you think about Christine, I understand, but whatever you think, she's not going to say it if she doesn't have that reliable source. She has never been proven wrong and just gossipy. You may not like her style, you may not like the way she talks to athletes or something like that, but she's not gossipy.
People
she has
hate the messenger. They hate us all the time when we say it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there it is.
Listen, I reported a fact about that someone had a safe sport thing and got death threats. I wasn't the one that called it in, honey. You know, just said that it existed.
Yeah. I heard you say the fact, and I got the death threats. It was a nutty time. It was also a nutty time.
They didn't even know if Mozilev would kick something in the ice. By the way, people aren't intentionally making divots in the ice. Things happen on jumps that, like, oh my goodness.
The misinformation. Yeah. It's tough for me at this time in the year, because even
if they don't skate necessarily, right? And that are passionate about a skater and maybe not the sport itself.
Maybe a skater and not skating. And that's the problem.
Or they don't have the experience of it. It's just lunacy and it's horrible. And this is someone that's having their Olympic experience and then he has to go out there. Horrible. You know,
horrible. Yeah. And a tough skate for Mozilev. And you know what? Yeah. Yeah, it was.
I will say with Yuzuru, I think that I do feel with these Olympics and the hysteria of his inability to beat Nathan, I almost feel like the fans pushed him probably to a place mentally where he felt he has to be larger than life all the time because he is such a celebrity, and groupthink and fan culture gets bigger and bigger and bigger when he's actually then, you know, out there. He felt like he has to make history. He has to win or do this quad axel. I mean, good for him for going for it.
Best attempt he's ever had, I think, was that. I mean, but again, knowing if you don't land it ever in practice.
To me, the same thing that he wanted it to say. Remember how Tanya Harding said that she just wished in '94 that, oh, I wish people said, oh, I saw Tanya Harding do the triple axel at the Olympics and it was amazing. You know, when she knew that she couldn't win. I think for Yuzuru, yes, we're going to always remember that he went for a quad axel. But I'm also going to remember that he showed up without a coach. He showed up late. He didn't help his team potentially win a medal. And to me, that says something. Because Japan, get this, think about it. Imagine if Yuzuru had competed in the team event, sure, and helped Japan. It wound up, it wouldn't have meant, you never know, right? Nathan skated clean there, but he didn't have the pressure of going against Yuzuru Hanyu.
Right.
What if Yuzuru went clean and then Nathan is competing after him with the pressure of the 4 years ago on his back and the pressure of a clean Yuzuru? Does that change things? Might not change things at all. Might not have changed the points. People are going to say, oh, well, Yuzuru scored this as a season's best. But what if that affected Nathan mentally? What if that got in his head enough, plus the previous stress, and that was too much to overcome? You can play what if forever. Or if you Yuzuru, you're certainly hoping that you're going to do that. I think the fact that he didn't, well, the
only really reliable quad he showed up with here was the toe.
Yeah.
Sao eluded him. I mean, yes, okay, you popped in the shirt.
Anything other than that quad axel, barely anything.
Yeah, right.
Quad axel in practice.
Yeah.
it looked chaotic to me when I watched his practice.
Chaos is right. And that could be, even if the coach is not giving you technical information or interfering, just a presence there to sort of anchor you and be like, okay, let's take a break from that for just a little bit, skate around a little bit, do some spins. Let's come back to this.
He didn't want that. You have to wonder why. And I think his whole approach.
And the same Nathan release that we saw, you were saying bit by bit, a little after the quad south, a little bit after the quad lutz, and then he just keeps enjoying it more and more. I did see a giant weight come off of Hanyu's shoulders at the end of that program. It wasn't necessarily the joyous, victorious release we see at some Olympics, but I think he was so relieved for that thing to be done, because when he was sort of being lighthearted, when you wait in those weird couches or whatever, suddenly I felt like he was almost coming back to earth.
I felt we saw him relax more than we've seen him relax in 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah, I agree. I think this, I can't imagine.
When it was fun and they were
in it together, but Hanyu kind of knew where he stood. Yeah.
I have to say for Shoma, I had a Jonathan thought as I was rewatching. I've never loved the Bolero program.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a thought when I was watching. Do you think that the Robin music relaxed him more?
Yes, I think this was anxiety inducing, this music.
It never releases and he just never settles. He looks stressed and tense the entire program.
Just listening to the music, your chest will get tight. Dun, 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 dun. And especially in this arrangement, whatever this sort of cinematic version is, it's very anxiety filled.
And for a skater like Shoma, who needs to be soft in his knees and struggles, I just wondered what did up here.
Yeah.
We saw that the short program seemed to work for him, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually thought it was going to go better for him than it did. I thought that this was more of a typical Shoma free, unfortunately. Yeah. But if you were to watch Shoma in the practices, he was actually practicing better. And especially his team event short. I
don't know if we're allowed to say it. I felt he was a little bit more grounded before Lambiel showed up. It's interesting because there's this whole narrative about Lambiel, like saving Shoma. And I just don't ever like those kinds of narratives. He said some weird things to Shoma when he got off the ice. He's wearing the zebra to remind us all he wore a zebra outfit at his Olympics. But I'm just sort of like, enough with the Lambiel. I don't know. I don't know that I understand this connection for Shoma, but
I think more of a managerial coach, obviously, than a technical coach for him. He does stay on Shoma to go for that quadruple. I think that he was really beneficial to Shoma the season after. Remember when Shoma's coaches fired him and he had gone to eteri, which was all to get him whipped into discipline, and he left eteri
because they all called him lazy, right? That's how Danny G left it. He said Shoma's too lazy for us.
There's a big story there that Shoma's never really talked about, right? And the whole what happened. And remember, that was the season when he was then playing the video games after and seemed really dark and depressed. And that's when lots of things were being said about him. Shoma then went to Lambiel, and Stefan did seem to help get him back to himself. And then remember, he had those really good skates that he pulled out. So you do have to wonder if, as a managerial coach, Lambiel was able to get him to train, at least to get to a certain place, but it doesn't seem like he's been able to get Shoma to win necessarily. Although Shoma did seem more focused here than he has in a long time. In the Worlds before, I remember covering last year and putting those videos of the practice and the photos and the videos together. Shoma would be like laying on the ice and laughing and acting in a way in a practice session that's not really professional at a World Championships, and in a way that someone does when they're there to participate but not to win. Right. And when you're there to win, there's a certain expectation and focus that you would expect a top competitor to have. It was the same way that if you watched Yuzuru's practices, you would know that he was not here to win. He was here to do this quad axel, and that it was not likely going to go well based on just the organization of the practice. So, but I thought this, as far as I thought Jason Brown being so close to a
yes. Oh my goodness. One triple sow away from fourth. But of course, if we start thinking that way, we're going to be in crazy place. But to see him in the final Olympic group was wonderful. To see Sinnerman there was wonderful. And I thought he did a beautiful long. I thought it was great decision making to not attempt the quad, because I think a lot of fans now can go watch and enjoy his program, and those that don't understand a quad fall don't have to deal with it. And they can just see a clean, lovely program. So
we're getting texts as we cover this about Valieva, which is why people.
It's like I'll just keep talking about how much gorgeous skating Jason did.
We're finally okay. To state the facts chronologically, a sample from the athlete was collected under the Testing Authority and Results Management Authority of Rusada on the 25th of December 2021 during the 2022 Russian Figure Skating Championships in St. Petersburg, Russia. The WADA accredited laboratory of Stockholm, Sweden reported that the sample had returned an adverse analytical finding in AAF for the non-specified prohibited substance trimetazidine. Oh, so all the rumors were correct. All the gossips and rumors and nothing official.
Funny that.
Classified as S4 hormone and metabolic modulators according to the prohibited list of the World Anti-Doping Code. On February 8th, 2022, following this, the athlete was provisionally suspended with Rusada with immediate effect.
And what was the source on that?
This is Elkin sending it to me. I mean, my phone is blowing up from all over. The athlete challenged the imposition of the provisional suspension before Rusada Disciplinary Anti-Doping on February 9th, and a hearing took place on the same day. On the evening of February 9th, the Rusada Disciplinary Committee decided to lift the athlete's provisional suspension, thus allowing her to continue her participation in the Olympics. The reasoned decision, including the grounds for which the provisional suspension was lifted, will be issued shortly to all concerned parties. Under the World Anti-Doping Code, the World Anti-Doping Agency, the ISU, Rusada, and the IOC have a right to appeal the decision to lift the provisional suspension before CAS. The IOC will exercise its right to appeal and will not wait for the reasoned decision by Rusada, because the decision is needed before the next competition of the athlete is due to take part in Wibble Skate on February 15th.
So Rusada, because we had read that Rusada lifted the temporary suspension, which was supposedly why she was allowed to practice. And now it sounds like the other organizations are like, okay, we're just overruling Rusada. We're going to deal with this ourselves. Is that about what that's saying?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Pause for one moment, Jonathan.
Can go jump back.
Sorry, we had to call someone very important, you know.
Yes, yes.
Jonathan.
My seamless delivery should be here now. No, I'm just kidding.
We had to tell the boss, you have information about Valieva.
And we did, yeah.
And we did. So yes, we had to.
And again, the question often comes up, is this the moment for Elizaveta? It is, I believe it is not, of course, unfortunately, because Valieva, having competed already in the team event, just like when Vincent had already competed in the team event, takes the place of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
Now, the other thing is, I think it's a legitimate question.
Is do you test the other two? But I don't know how they can claim that's not discrimination.
Yeah. So, yeah, but no, not that. Just also, why did it take until February? You know, that I think is a legitimate argument. I'm sorry. Like, but when did Rusada really find out? We're not finding out when Rusada was really notified. You know,
and we know the IOC and the ISU likes to drag its feet. So were they almost hoping to announce it February 8th in hopes that it took a lot beyond the Olympics to sort of resolve?
I do have a part of me that wonders. WADA has known that Russia has not taken doping seriously over the last several years. Olympiads, quadrennials, they have continued to behave in a certain way. This is now their marquee sport with their marquee star. Did someone from WADA know how successful Kamila Valieva is? And perhaps realize that they had an opportunity to really embarrass Russia on the global stage in a way that
but my question to you though is, is it WADA that first brought this up, or who was the initial thing on February 8th?
Rusada took the test result. I believe her European gold will be stripped, like I said before.
Okay.
And I think
Bronze for Lena.
Yeah. I do think that the Russian team, should this be withheld when the IOC moves forward, I do believe that they will move to strip Russia of its team title, which is horrible for the other athletes. But when this happens in a relay, or if one of the bobsledders tests positive, the other three don't get the gold medal.
The only thing that's funky about that is like a relay, though, unfortunately, it's just a little bit different, because I feel like this would be like if part of that comparison works if one half of a pairs team tested positive or something. But even if you take away Valieva's points, which I think would be the answer, in the same way that Germany competed with a partial team, Ukraine was partial team. But I think without those 20 points, it gets rid of the medal anyway. And then my heart really...
I believe it might not.
I think Canada wasn't 20 points behind.
Let's go to skating scores.com.
Let's do it. Let's see now.
I thought Megan knew Hamill's calculations when we talked about this with each other the other day.
Because it was also, there's a question on, is there redistribution of points?
Jonathan, Russia would have the bronze by 1 point. It's 74 Russia, 65 US, 63 Japan, 53 Canada. But there's
wonder the Canadian Federation isn't getting involved.
You just get rid of her points, and then what if you go event by event and everyone in their points moves up? Anyway, I think Madison Hubble, Olympic champion. I'm just saying.
Yes, I think so too. And Madison Chalk, let that sink in.
And Alexis Sameka Kaniram, baby. Where is she when she read the report? I want to know who yelled louder, Hubble or Alexa. Two feisty blondes. One natural, one I don't think so. I want to know which one.
But then the question becomes like, if let's say Valieva's 10 points, for example, from the short program is wiped out, does Japan now move up from 9 points for Wakaba to 10 points? Or are those 10 points vacated? Because now
if they national title, these are why lawyers are involved, right?
Because if they start to shift everybody up, Japan will now gain 2 points in the women's, and Canada would gain 2 points, right? Because Maddie would go up. So actually Russia, if they redistribute the points when Valieva goes away, and they now say Japan was first, Canada was second in both divisions of the ladies event then. That does put Canada in the bronze medal position. So it's whether they just erase Valieva or they reassign the points to the other teammates in that. Because quite frankly, if Valieva wasn't competing, Wakaba would have earned 10 points. And then Maddie 9. Yeah.
Amazing. To quote
there's a lot of interesting things to figure out. Thank God the math was as simple as that. Otherwise, I was going to be really stumped.
Jason Brown was a triple Salchow away from a medal, Jonathan.
I mean, well, or 4th place anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But he was so beautiful.
It was beautiful to see, and such a nice Olympic moment.
I love how Tracy acts like she's never seen Jason skate before every time. Isn't that your favorite?
And that's what a good skater does. Yeah, it makes it feel like it's the first time every time.
You are such a beautiful skater.
And then when Brian goes, gosh, Jason, you really are good at this. I wanted Tracy to turn and be like, I told you.
Brian, who doesn't actually coach him, but shows up in the kiss and cry, that's amazing. That is figure skating politics at its finest. Okay.
Yeah. But who we did see,
not an insult, just a fact. Okay, like that
was my beloved Jun Hwan Cha with that wonderful. I love his short program. Put him in 4th after the short program, which was incredible. Sorry to see that hard fall on the quad toe. I still wonder why they don't just go for 2 quad sows and adjust some of the later jumps, but maybe they're working to get both going.
With how he recovered here. That was a hard fall.
It was a tough one. It could have been the beginning of something that was very messy, and instead he rebounded with that beautiful quad sow and gave us a really nice moment. Sad, by the way, that we will not be seeing June and Jason in the exhibition, but instead we will be seeing Maurice, Keegan, and there was another, Vincent. So yeah, surprising choices on that.
If you have nothing nice to say, don't say it.
Yeah. Next.
I just want June to fix the Ina Bauer arm because he's so lovely, but then like the one hand droops.
I wish you guys had not brought my attention to that brought that to my attention because the rest of his Ina Bauer is such a moment. And now I only see that one left hand, but.
You know what I also thought about the divot? Remember when La taught us, and once she told us you cannot see it, that Yuzuru looks down his entire program? He should have seen that imaginary divot before.
Yeah. Well, and again, if you had a divot, why would you not tell the referee about it for after
Athlete
you?
code.
Yeah, that's just like, yeah, but a loss. I mean, okay. And again, a nice moment for Boyang Jin. I know I keep going back to this. Not a skater I watch often on YouTube, I will say, although his quadruple Lutz height will never cease to blow my mind, but a nice moment for him to be top 10.
Would you say that you missed Hanyu here?
I never am not missing Hanyu.
And how about my boy Kazuki Kimono? And how about my boy Mikhail Koyada? They were missing.
Don't even get me started. The possibilities, especially with sort of like a rough outing in the free, like, you know, you'll always wonder what if. Yeah. And wait, our Italian friend brought up an interesting trivia fact to me, which was Daniel is the first person from Italy to finish in the top 10 in the men's event since Carlo Fassi.
No way. Armageddon made the top 10. When someone started calling him Armageddon, I can't. Okay. I mean, they had a joke about it that when you see his jumps, it feels like Armageddon. But, you know, you can't unsee it.
The Pez head technique is working for him sometimes because he really does throw out some big. It reminds me of Samarin sometimes.
He needs to lose Benoit's number. He needs to block him and just.
Because I would want him to be with someone full time. Yeah, someone who's hands on all the time to sort of make that refinement.
Also, Kevin Aymoz, he's had so many injuries this season. I thought he had some really lovely moments. He came back for some hard ones as well. I just love to watch his skating. You know, there were so many men that were going for things that looked hard or looked like work, and we had to watch Simonenko. There were some really ugly skates.
Although Simonenko, I mean, ended up being the quality alternate who really was able to provide the highest results here. But again, that does not speak to me. Mark, with the unconventional technique, does speak to me because he's leaving it all out there. But we just saw a man deflated. He was probably distracted about what's going on and with his medal.
One of my coaches said that when you watch Mark, his technique looks like he learned how to skate on a pond after watching figure skating on television and trying to teach those jumps to himself. I also can't unsee that.
Yeah, it's a bit through grit and determination he's landing those. Yeah, when he's landing them.
From
over there.
Yeah. Just saying. Keegan also had a nice moment after struggling to get here. What do you think about the future of Roman Sadowski? I think he needs like you know how Corey had Jason and Sylvia has Kevin. I mean, I think we need he needs a Tracy or someone to really.
A different Tracy anyway. Yeah. Yes. But especially because we know his Tracy has an issue that was not dissimilar to Roman in some ways. But we see someone with talent, and I'm going to own this. I will own when I take a misstep. I was really on the bandwagon that I thought more opportunity and more trust in this skater was going to yield a different result. And it seems like behind the scenes, that approach has been tried and has failed. And unfortunately here, there was a big moment available. And, you know, it's always tough to see someone struggle as much as that, especially when you know they're capable of some things. But I don't know what needs to change. But I think if there's going to be a continuation, something drastic, you got to turn the whole thing upside down. I don't think this is about small changes.
I always think about what I would do if I had Justin or Mitch's job, or I had Michael Slipchuk's job. And the number one thing I would do is that Marta Karoli, for all of her failings and abuse, the verification thing, I think, was extremely beneficial, as well as having the athletes train together and putting them in that environment. I think that having regular camps where people have that competitive environment, maybe not for everyone all the time, but doing that once a month, I think can be very beneficial. It's harder to do it in skating because there's so many competitions and yada, yada. But certainly in the summer and some of the off season, I think that there are ways that you could do that with check-ins. I do think that if I were selecting athletes for assignments like the Olympics or for continents, and you're talking about body of work, I would, and they're getting funding, I would make athletes as part of their contract to get funding, and I would divvy up the funding throughout the year, not just give it in 1 month. I would make them get on Zoom and submit a video at a certain point in time, or get on Live Barn, because we all have it now. So you can watch someone skate throughout and watch and put them under a pressure situation regularly, so that they're practicing competing and they're practicing feeling that moment. So that if someone, and it could have really solved a lot of things as well during the pandemic, where if then, okay, we can't go to a competition because we have COVID, but everyone could be in their home rink. All right, well, Friday, we're gonna have our June competition, and we are gonna make everyone do their short program. And tomorrow we're gonna all do our free skates, and we're gonna rank it. And your funding on the national team is going to be impacted by how you finish. I would make those people compete throughout the year and do that.
To simulate more of the pressure. Yeah.
Yes, and more practice there. And for someone like Roman, perhaps.
I mean, these were implosions.
You would at least have information that he's not the one, and you would have concrete examples month after month after month after month, where you could point to and be like, yeah, he did well that one time, he had a Ross Minor moment, but look at how many times Adam nailed it.
Right. I just wonder, like, is it going well in practice and then it doesn't happen? Like, it's hard to know, especially when the things we consume of his skating are often in clips or exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah. It's sad. It's unfortunate to watch because he has such lovely qualities.
I know that Michael Slipchuk does monitoring, but when you're flying from one place to another, you can't be all the place all the time. Live Barn does allow you to do that, by the way. It allows you to check in here and check in there. And listen, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Listen, if I needed to produce results, it's the first thing I would start doing. Is you'd see people shape up real quick. Okay,
right.
They would.
Right. Yeah.
Those cricket club skaters will be doing their full run through with the spins, with the steps every day. Boom. Right. Just when it counts. So
tough call.
Listen, I'm a tough bitch. That's what I'm saying. All right.
but when it comes to results, which have been lacking for Roman, if he's in search of those, if he continues, which, something like this, what I would hope either propel you forward or make you move on, perhaps. But again, just like weird side notes, I do love the Star Wars footwork sequence of Adam from France. It's very unexpected that I like it, and I'm totally all about it. And Dennis, some nice moments for Dennis, and some, Matteo, a valiant effort. So,
what was your moment of the night, of the event?
It was when, first of all, the music placement of those jumps for Nathan could not have been more perfect and emotionally timed. And I think just the general ease of which, and he's not my go-to. I tend to enjoy a performance by a Shoma or a Hanyu or something like that more often than I do of Nathan. But there was something special about this moment. And to me, that's the whole point of the Olympics. This is a program that I will now go back and watch, especially to see his response. Yeah.
Yeah. I think definitely. Actually, the whole program of Jason, but especially the second half, was moving. And Hoda loved it. She made him listen to the Rocket Man remix because she loved it so much. She had played it for him this morning. I was laughing so hard when I found out that he called his mom and she let him know what she liked in the program and did it. Galina was telling stories about how Nikolai, when he was working with Nikolai Morozov, maybe in 2015 at one point, or 2016, and he was at the rink and she said that Nikolai would say bye for the day and the mom would make him practice for sessions after. She's like, that's not there skating mom, that is tiger mom.
Amazing.
She approved. And
a nice moment for Shoma to snag that bronze. I know it wasn't the skate he was looking for, but he did do some lovely shorts and a nice
Jason, lovely moment for him. Perhaps we'll see him at the World Championships without I imagine Nathan might not go to the World Championships now that he won the Olympics, as has happened with many Olympic champions in the past. We'll find out and see. That's
so difficult to train when everybody wants an interview and everybody wants this. And a very artful, I thought all three men, I commend them, because sometimes it's best when, I was gonna say singers, also true, when skaters don't have the chance to talk maybe, but everyone was so gracious, kind, supportive, and then just stayed a million feet away from any question about doping at the press conference. So I was really, really happy to see three medalists in their moment, just handling the media with great finesse. So that was great.
Yeah, I would love to. Wouldn't you love to be there and be like, oh, I have a lot to say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How much time you got? Yeah, exactly. As you mentioned, they were asking Shoma about doping, and the reporters don't even understand that he was at eteri's camp at one point, but all right. Hey, lost.
That's why we're here. I do think also that it was very interesting that I had like a moment on, I think it was like that you talked about how Nathan placed things on the music. Jun Hwan Cha has a moment where it's like half falling leaf or like an extended mazurka. It's not quite a Michelle Kwan falling leaf. It's not a mazurka, but it's like a split leg right on the beat of the music towards the beginning of his program. And that was a moment for me as well, that a detail nice. that really resonated.
That matters. Yes, exactly.
Loved it. Loved it. Amazing.
Love him. Yeah.
Well, we are going to continue with our part 2 with Slava Zagorodniuk. Hi, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the skating lesson. I'm Dave Lees.
And I'm Jonathan Byer. Now, Dave and I have not competed at the Olympics, but someone here has.
We're thrilled to welcome two-time Olympian, European champion and world bronze medalist, Viacheslav Zagorodniuk. Slava, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, guys. Invite me.
Yeah. So you have been at the Olympics as a coach before. What have been your overall impressions of watching the competition so far?
I'm so impressed because Olympic, this is different story in any competition. And last Olympic, I was represent Philippines with Michael Martinez. And very nice experience. Like coach, I was to skate Olympic in 92, Albertville in 98, Nagano. As 92, also like I'm kind of little guy, like 18 years old, and like today Yuma representing Japan, like 18 years old, and my experience to Olympic game, unbelievable. It was 92, I represent Soviet Union, and 98, I represent Ukraine. And I don't know, question it to me, I will tell you what, like feeling unbelievable.
You competed against Yuma's father at those Olympics, right, in 92?
92, like Victor Petrenko win, and then second Paul Wiley, and third Peter Barna. Also like Kurt Browning, he's got 6th place, and before he is like 4 times world champion. And this is point is like, you see, he's 4-time world champion and Olympic. He's competed Olympic 3 times, 3 times 6.
Yeah. Now, do you have feelings on per country rules? Because obviously Japan could have had probably 5 or 6 skaters in the men's event who all could have done well. You were blocked out of the 94 Olympics because of per country rules. How many skaters do you think should be able to go per country?
A very difficult question because, for example, Russia right now and top 10 girls will be fight for medal to Olympic game. For example, USA right now very kind of slow down to women's side, but I don't know in the future US women skaters. Rafael have system. Rafael has own group of coaches, and what showed this Olympics, he has very good experience to build up Olympic champion. Like he has very good system. Yeah. And for men, man for in the future. I think Malinin will be very good to represent United States of America in international and Olympic game, next Olympic game. But for this 4 years period of time, this look like long time, but this is very short. Is you never know what happened. We was have, for example, nice skaters, Glebov. He was have like potential to be like next Plushenko or something like that. But right now, I don't hear about Glebov anything. And this is like kind of about Malinin. He's right now very good kid. What happened next step? I hope he is working hard for system, like because his parents, like Malinina Tatiana, she was win Grand Prix final, yeah, and Uzbekistan, she represent Uzbekistan, and also his father like Russian Soviet Union system, and they know how system. But what I think they need to help, because I know I'm working like coach also over here in the United States. Yeah, a lot of coaches over here, Russian, they have a lot of information, but very hard for us to communication with USFSA. What I think, like, because we still have language barrier because we're other country and other language and also other culture. Because in the Russian, like we have like kind of our selection. For example, I'm compete and grow up. We was have very strong school like tutberidze right now has. Like we have like Viktor Petrenko, Oksana Bayul, Yuri Tsimbalyuk, Vladimir Petrenko, like 6 guy was junior world title. And I talked with Eteri like last Olympic, and she also said, I'm nothing to do new. I just take it your system, like where you have like 90s, 80s, it bring from this right now like 2000 age generation.
It's very similar, you know, with the system. Yeah. At what age were you actually put into that group with Yuri and Vasily Yarmenko and Vladimir and Victor?
You know, we was have like a leader like Viktor Petrenko. Then young generation try to catch him. When we start to catch him, and he's try to go forward to us because we start to jump on his heels because we follow him. And when he see we start to do the same element, he needs to grow more and artistically and technically because he don't want to put us in the front. This is also is good because the United States has like, well, for example, private lessons and for a leader like Nathan Chen. This is why Rafael has like some people to come to him because they want to skate like the same like Nathan Chen. And then looking how Nathan skate and they try to do the same stuff, all this stuff. Also when in Russia right now, when the girls have like 10 girls in that group, eteri, and one younger, like 12 or 14 years old, to do the same jump like Kamila Valieva today. And eteri said, okay, if you don't want, Kamila, if you're not working hard, you see, I have 10 people behind you. If you're not working hard, I put them, or they represent Russia. And this is motivation for skaters who right now in the world-class level skating. They also like said, yeah, I will be working because I don't want to lose my spot. And this is why Russia very good to impress like world, everything. But my opinion between triple and quad, kind of the same. Just back then when I'm skate, I'm first time attempt quad axel 1989. And I'm first man who did 2 triple axel in a long program 1989. Yuma Faza stay in the podium. I was first in junior title win. He is like third.
But did you try to quad axel?
Yes, I was. 1989.
How'd you do?
I did exactly like Yuzuru did, like half revolution in the practice.
Okay.
And I did just 3 attempts. I have old newspaper somewhere in my words, and it's Russian. One of the day mission says like Plushenko go first man who go to quad lats, and that newspaper said no, there is no Plushenko first go to quad lats. Viacheslav to go to quad axel, and we have camp like Novogorsk in Russia, and over there I'm trying. Probably we don't have a video because this day we sell our phone and that's it. You made a video. Back then we have VCR, some big camera, and the coach.
What was your experience like when you were training that? Did it feel so much harder? Was it about for you the height? Was it about the speed of rotation? I'm so intrigued by.
Like I told you already, it's not different between 80s, 90s, and today. Just we added 1 revolution, yes, because back then when we practice, we don't have it spinners, we don't have it anything. For my experience, I have like 15 years dual fives. We dual fives on the sand, and we're running kind of model like long program. We're running on the set like 1 hour, like before day off, we'll run 1 hour. And we did triple axel on the sand. If you do triple axel on the sand, you definitely do it on the ice. For example, right now I have new skaters from United States represent Chen, and he even can do the double axel on the floor. Right now we slowly start to do it on the floor, but he did on the ice. This last national, he showed 2 axels. And also he has attempt for quad lats, flip, all quads, but he has no clue how to do on the floor or whatever different. And
I get injured on off-ice jumps all the time. So I don't get hurt on the ice. I get hurt doing off-ice jumps every time I roll my ankle. So, yeah.
I think it's an interesting point, Dave, that you brought up, because I think, like, for instance, Viacheslav, in '94, as a medalist at the European Championships, I would have loved to have seen you compete in Lillehammer. I would love for the sport to represent the top athletes in the world at the moment, not necessarily token numbers from each country. Like, I would love to see 6 Russian women at this Olympics. I would love to have seen 5, 6 Japanese men at this Olympics, because instead of the tokenism of certain countries, I always love to just see the finest in the sport at the moment based on their scores and how they compete.
Yeah, I'm agree with you, because in this season, 94, for example, I beat Alexei Urmanov every single competition. And then I'm not go to Lillehammer. And included after the Lillehammer, I beat him in the World Championships. He's got 4th, I got 3rd. And this is good idea this is ISU supposed to be, or Olympic Committee, to do this more increased quarter. If your skaters has like world rating and elements. Yeah, you can represent. This is why Russian girls and boys also try to represent different countries, because they know they cannot represent Russia in the future, and they move different country. They withdraw 1 season and then represent different country. They also not withdraw. They not compete just ISU competition, but international competition. You will compete.
Yeah. What do you think about Hanyu going for the quad axel here? Do you think it cost him a medal? overall? Had he just
No,
gone?
definitely this is cost medal, but he don't care. I think he don't care about medal.
Mhm.
I think he care about to go to history first, who landed quad axel.
Mhm.
Because
But
okay.
it's interesting to talk to you about this because I was confused. I am a musician. I am not a figure skater. I only maybe had an ugly single axel once. But so I'm impressed by the fact that he tried the jump, even though he had not been landing it in practice. I get excited. I know when people are going to try a new exciting element that maybe they hit sometimes in practice, will they get it in the competition? I just didn't know what that would do to your mind if you had never really successfully done it in a practice, what that feels like knowing you. I don't know. Do you think he knew he was not going to get it? Or do you think he thought he was really going to land it after never landing it in practice?
This is like lottery.
Yeah.
How often we win lottery?
Right.
0.
Yeah.
But like I said, like he don't care about medal because he's two-time Olympic champion, and he knows if he wants to go to the show or wherever, anybody invite him because he's super talented and very good skater. Very good skater. Not just jumper. He's very good skater. And he wants to be in history, during in history. I will be not surprised if he's coming back after the 4 years also compete. Not like quad axel. I just compete and be over there.
Yeah.
Because some people from Russia or different country try to get out from this. For example, my example, to do something new and made it money and live nicely. For Yuzuru, like right now, second recognized person in Japan.
Yeah.
Because first in the queen and king, royalty family, and then Yuzuru. Was before like sumo guys, very popular in Japan. Right now in figure skaters. And this is like what he got first gold medal in Olympic game. You see right now, like boom, 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 like pyramid. We have like a lot of great skaters, not just men, in women, Japan. Just like situation, like injury, and some girls cannot compete in Olympic game. But yeah, this is like pyramid. But in the Russian women skaters, I guess in like 4 decades, very hard to fight with them. But
what did you think about him not choosing not to have a coach with him when he was sort of doing all this at the boards? Like when you were at the Olympics, for example, did you lean on your coach more, or could you imagine having done that without just sort of someone there supporting you?
I have experience in my life, like Galina and Valentin, like my coach Galina Zmievskaya and Valentin Nikolaev. They cannot go to some reason for Skate America, probably in 1990 or something in Buffalo. And they send it some different, not coach, they asked Natalia Dubova stay beside me. But something wrong in practice, and I don't know fix it. I don't know how to fix it. Because I'm feeling like I do right, but like one of the day, my coach Nikolaev says like, Slava, you're not supposed to be feeling jump. We have technical jump. We have this, and this. You're supposed to do this, and this. If you will call in this feeling jump, we will be mark artistic mark, technical mark, and feeling mark. But we don't have it.
Okay.
For example, a boxer, they punch 1,000 times per day in the face. and they're not feeling anything. If somebody punch me in the face, I'm feeling everything. This is what about feeling. And then my experience from professional, I already moved to professional. I do like triple axel and like some competition I prepare. Axel gun, triple axel gun. I'm feeling like I do the same gun. I said, coach, take it look for 30 seconds. He take it look and said, this, do it, and no problem. He told me just 3 things, 30 seconds. I go and axel coming back.
Really? Oh, wow.
Like, because sometimes what skaters feeling inside, different what coach see. Coach see what, right now I'm coach, I also see how he did preparation, and I know he do it jump or not.
Right.
Because jump, a key for jump, preparation. Jump, this is result how people to prepare to jump.
Well, Galina does say that you had the best triple axel, because I made the mistake of asking her if I could do my arms like Victor taught me. And she goes, being Victor is my only student. Victor Axel, absolutely bullshit. Look at Slava.
No, I was one of the best triple axel. Even much more today says like when some people introduced me to him, and he said like, I know this guy, he was have 90s the best triple axel.
Yeah. Well,
No, I was. But right now is Yuzuru Hanyu, Yuma. There's a lot of skaters right now to do very good triple axel.
Yeah. Well, what did you think about Nathan coming in here? Raphael did an interview with Yelena Vaitsehovskaya today where he said that they were doing the quad loop just to intimidate the other competitors during the fall, that it was never in their plan to compete quad loop, but they wanted to get in the heads of maybe Shoma and Yuzuru Hanyu here. Did you have any doubt that Nathan would win?
Yeah, definitely. I says like if he even made it one mistake, he will be win. One mistake, he will be win. And he did mistake, but this is, I think this is after that jump, what he did, single flip, this is, I kind of not counted mistake.
Right.
I mean, the big mistake like this is triple axel. Sometimes he has problem. If you see in the practice and warming up, and before he start to skate, he has problem with quad salto.
It didn't go great in the program. Yeah.
But yeah, you see he's landing in a long program, but little bit shaky. But in the mind, he's always, before what he go to the start, he checks salto.
Yeah.
And he did it. He's fighter. And
yeah,
I saw a couple times how he's practiced before national, and we come with Dan in this ice, and he's good kids. Also, when I do a fight with my kids in the park, and Nathan always play basketball with mama, and this is I like him. He's very, very good kids. Also, before he started to do all quads, and we're working like, well, Raphael gave it to me for him like 15 minutes, like every week on the corners. And I don't know why Nathan picked up me, because he's tried several corners, but he said Slava the best. And like I help him a lot. No, like for beginning quad salto, quad toe loop, he started to rotate it, and then he's got that, and he's like sponge, you know. He's when he's got information and he's creative over there in his mind, and then like take it information like water and sponge, rest of information gone, and he's leave it what very important for him. Because all skaters are different. Like right now I'm working coach, and model like one every person different,
Mhm.
completely different. One of the, you need to push. For example, Yaroslav Paniot was skate to me like last national hit skate, like very good, like 4th place. And thank you, he's go away from me. He took information and go.
Mhm.
I said, God bless you. What, because one of the points he said, like, I know everything. I said, Yaro, I don't know anything about, I just study. Because I said, you watch like one of the day final Grand Prix. He said, no. I said, watch, because I don't know where we're supposed to be go. I know where we're supposed to be go. And next Olympics, for example, win gold medal like Nathan this year win, it will be not enough. Will be not enough. For example, I was talking with my skaters for this day. I said, 4 years, this is tomorrow.
Mhm.
And
Right.
you need to work in very hard for right now. Right now, you don't have it any quad, but the next Olympic, we're supposed to have, if you try to fight for medal, we're supposed to have combination like quad toe loop, half loop, quad south, for example.
Right.
Like Ilya Malinin is showing.
Yeah, like Malinin this day tried to that combo, yes. And he tried the triple lats, quad loop. And this means in the future, he will, with his lats, he landed this combo, quad lats, quad loop. This will be awesome. But also, I think in next Olympic, we will be see quad axel. Very close, very close. Because what Yuzuru show us, guys, this is possible. And right now, if you like smart coach or whatever, new generation skaters, and they say, oh, this is possible. Almost, Hellenic almost. I would like to do next Olympic. I will do it and do it in history. Like who loves figure skating, who live in figure skating, and for, I guess in Ilya Malinin, if you not injury, anything happen, he will be doing. But he needs to also like system. Like I talked with his father, he said he don't like off ice. I said, who likes off ice? Nobody likes off ice. Nobody likes working.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you about Ilya. Do you think it was a mistake that he wasn't at these Olympic Games?
Very difficult to question, but we have USFSA, we have, they decide, not like coaches, not like community, like, I don't know, I guess I would like to see him in Olympic game, this Olympic game. But you see, he doesn't know what happened for this day, I very wants to win some compete, and he was in a good shape. But you see, COVID, he's not compete. He will be fight for medal, like Shoma skate last night. He will be got medal if he skate clean.
Right.
Yeah.
Vincent will be in the podium because Shoma did a lot of mistake, included like some spin. They not counted some spin.
Yeah, 0 points. Yeah.
0 points. Yeah, and yeah, he will be in the podium.
What do you think about Shoma's jumps? He gets a very wide landing on a lot of his jumps, and his quad flip, the technique is suspicious.
Shoma.
Yeah.
He's short skater. And for example, if his knee working so deep, if you long skaters take it like the same working knee how Shoma, they not do anything.
Right.
Also, if you teach like Shoma landing, because his landing completely look like open in left side. Also, it's nothing happen. It's like I told you, like one of the kind, like every skater's like person. For example, for Shoma is very good for this. Another person like blades run away and slippery, he fell.
Yeah.
Although I thought Shoma's quad loop here, I was surprised at how lovely his quad loop looked. But then, yes, as the program went on, it got more and more swingy almost on every landing, that opening. So if that's your student, is that just about checking when they land, or what? Why is he staying so open, do you think?
Because, like I told you, he has short legs, and he's usually, coaches in the United States teach different open up, like when you open jump. This is my problem with combo with triple loop. Because most of the coaches said check. And legs and arms go and fly side and back. But if you look in slow motion, any skaters, including the United States skaters and any in the world, who did very nice landing, first landing, legs supposed to open front, look like you prepare combo with triple loop. And then legs fly around, you do it like position landing. Probably if your legs very fast go back, like this is emotion in physics. For example, if you drive your car 90 miles per hour and not wearing belt, you push very fast and the brake, where you going? Three car ahead. And the same over here, we have inertia power, very fast rotation. We need to just stop rotation your head, looking right, everything open front like ballet. And then you swing around. Even Kamila Valieva, she opened like this leg, front, and then you do whatever you want to, arabesque or camel position, spiral position. This is a little bit problem.
What do you think about the guys here that then also had to compete in the team event so nearby? Like I wondered, like, for instance, if for someone like Nathan, doing the short program helped it kind of get ready, but Shoma did a really beautiful short program, like, and Yuma did things. I wondered if, like, you did the free skate, were you going to be a little more tired for this event, or did it help you shake nerves? Like, what would you think if you were competing with a team event?
I'm thinking, for example, it was before we have a qualification.
Right.
Before European Championships and the World Championships, we have qualification. And everybody know for leaders, like first 5 skaters, easy to qualify if they not do even single, triple jump.
Right.
They anyway qualify. But this is good idea because when you come in a competition, you wear this competition and like kind of always like thinking about program, like how can I do what I supposed to do, and you always thinking. When competition start, you go a little bit easier. Even qualification, you getting tired a little bit, but mentally you start to compete. Means this is, for example, for Nathan, very help for this team competition short program, because he has big splinter in his head from last Olympic. He skate in Olympic game without 3 elements short program. And this big splinter, and when this competition happened in team competition and he's do it like short program clean, this is kind of release for him, like, I'm ready to compete for single event, I will be champion. This is my opinion.
I was talking to a coach from another country who was at his practice sessions, and he was practicing inconsistently before the team event. You know, some practices were good, some practices were bad. You know, on the day he was popping a lot of quad lutzes. After that team event, he was perfect in practice.
Yes, this is why before you see, like one of the coach says, like he's like good, bad, because he's very nervous. Because that splinter in the last Olympics seated in the head. And when he's competing a team event clean, that's it. I'm not like 90%. I thought like he will be win.
Yeah. I wondered about someone like Mark from Russia, who gave so much energy to both programs, and especially at the end of the team event, like Marx was throwing his body around. It was so exciting. And then when he came to the individual event, I thought what I was seeing was someone who is exhausted emotionally also from having performed so big.
I know. Do you know what? I think this is like Russian Federation and also Russian country. They put it all for example, men, they know they will be not fight for podium. Even Mark skate clean. He will be not in the podium. And I think, I don't know exactly, but they say you're supposed to skate 100% here because this is your medal.
Yeah.
And this is why they put it Kamila also, because Kamila doesn't matter. She will be, how says, you see right now story about her, like about doping, they try to find it, something. But before even this happened, I said, I don't know who win in the woman side. Everybody point to Kamila. I don't know. Because if you're looking like, for example, 2 years, and Trusova never skate clean. Never even single competition, not skate clean. This is sometimes, and even you'll not put a bullet in a gun, sometimes gun to shooting. What I try to point, Kamila skate completely clean all competition from junior until in European Championships, she did one mistake. One mistake in this short program, long program, she fell from tall. This is also a little splinter. Trusova right now showing in practice all 5 quads. Sherbakova skate not clean in the Russian. She barely to go in a team. And right now her practice like this. Like Crypto right now. One bound.
She's the strongest mentally too, Anya.
Yeah, and Anya, stronger mentally too. And right now she in the practice show everything. And we will see. It's very interesting. Girls will be awesome. But I guess first 3 Russian, but very interesting who is who.
Which one? Yeah.
Which one? Which one?
Okay.
How do you think about Yuma Kagiyama for the future? Do you think, obviously you talked a lot about Ilya Malinin, but do you think he has potential to be world champion maybe this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
If somebody not show up, yes, he will be. He will be. Because I think they will be not stop learn, even quad axel and the rest of the second jump quad. You know what's so funny? And his father in 1989, I win junior title. He was bronze.
Yeah.
Did he skate like Yuma? Did they look similar on the ice?
Yes, very similar. Very similar. If you go on YouTube and search like 1989 junior world,
okay,
it's similar skate.
Okay, because it's a beautiful jump technique that Yuma has. Like it's really pretty to watch, I think. Yeah.
Yes, but right now my skaters like little bit discussed with me. I said, why you discuss? Just watch video. He have different coaches, and he said like different coaches explain different. I said, okay. Do you know Brian Orser? I must to hear. He said yes. Okay, go on the Facebook. One of the day he explained how to open from jump and how I'm supposed to be working for takeoff. Don't listen to me. If you know Brian Orser, search it and do it. because right now new technological, you can find it everything. Any coaches, any skaters.
Yeah.
If you want to study, you can study by yourself. Like I'm I'm looking too much attention to roller skaters, and also they do triple axel. This is why I see like Kamila Valieva and that kind of like team. I guess they watch roller skaters too, because in a roller skater they don't have an age, and they like go to the left arm in the front, and then no pressure, put it over here for triple axel.
Does Trusova's triple axel scare you? What do you think about Trusova's triple axel?
Honestly, all this team and triple axel scare me.
It's very inside the circle, right? Yeah.
Included Valieva. Her axel, like right now, she like thin, young, and courageous, and that's it. They have short time, for example, for learning and to show people. For maximum 4 years. For example, Zagitova, Medvedeva, they show gun. And the same, if they stay 2 decades, they will be not show us 8 years later for this element, the same element, they will be not show.
Yeah. If you see Medvedeva and Zagitova now, they can't really jump, especially Medvedeva can't. Yeah.
Because first they not practice like usually they do. A lot of show, a lot of TV or whatever. Yeah, they and also new generation. They know it's
what did you
behind
think about
them, new generation.
Did you hear about Hanyu blaming the ice for the short program? Because he said that there was a hole in the ice, which is why he missed his quad sow, but he didn't go to the referee to say that there was a hole in the ice afterwards.
Yeah, have you hit a divot in the ice when you were competing?
Yes, it was my experience. Yes, I was half, but nobody cares. Right now. For example, skaters to do the same pattern like figures, like figures, when we skate figures, they have the same pattern. But right now, I told my skaters to do, for example, reverse, like judges sit in other direction. It means you not come to your age. For example, if Yuzuru warm up, he is like quad south of different side, he will be not catch this age for his age in a quad salcha if you hit deep. But in a junior world, I cut my age in a loop, I pump and do double. But for this reason, my coach put it second triple axel like 30 seconds before program end. If you something happened in your elements. For example, if he has quad axel, he's put it second quad axel end of the program. If he's pumping his salcha, and
but unfortunately, in the short program, you couldn't do that, right?
Yeah, in the short program, no, short program you cannot do it. But if you like you strong, you're supposed to be not blame on ice. Like you asked me before, like why are you thinking about why Orser not stay beside Yuzuru? Because he's thinking I'm already so cool.
You think it's a mistake?
I don't need anybody stay beside me. This is what I guess a little bit problem.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, he came to the Olympics late. He didn't have a coach. I mean, it seems his preparation wasn't.
Yeah, because as coach made it like a strategy. Doesn't matter, like you 2-time Olympic champion or 19-time Olympic champion or you nobody. Even 30th place and 24th place coach made it some strategy what they know, for example, for that skaters, how they know what they're supposed to be to do. Some strategy. This is what like Russian committee, they have like, okay, the guys, doesn't matter. Everybody will go to the Siberia to camp. Do you want this or not? You Olympic champion, not Olympic champion or whatever. You go over there. You prepare to Olympic game.
Well, I had a question about Maurice Kivitishvili. He's been criticized for his toe loop and salchow technique, that they're actually the same jump. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, similar.
Yeah.
And if you, Javier Fernandez, the same, kind of the same. But also like all jump, my opinion, the same. Lats, flip, loop, sal, toe loop, the same.
Really?
Yes. Just because for lats, little bit difficult to open road to the rotation. For salcha, for example, you easy to open rotation and go to the salcha. For lats, little bit difficult. For example, Brian Baitana, first man who did triple lats hand up. And because I think, not because this is super something, because he can probably open shoulders to the rotation. And coach take it decision or whatever, try to left arm going up, he's easy to open left shoulders. And this is point. But for new generation, like I said, it doesn't matter. You did triple or quad revolution or 5 revolution. You're supposed to be all energy take from eyes and then convert to the rotation.
I'm just intrigued, again, as someone who has never jumped a quad or a triple axel, but in his toe, he never seems to tap the toe, right? Did Javi also not really tap his toe?
Right.
I have to go back and rewatch some of the Javi ones.
Yeah,
okay.
If you back and watch my lats.
Okay.
I put it leg. Nobody teach me like that. Put it leg. For example, I put it toe and then blade. And I have like toe a little bit edge for my lats. Right now they counted this pre-rotation. They looking like pre-rotation, but nobody teach me that to do that. My ankle just on purpose to do that. And did. And the toe loop also I put it toe a little bit, not big like Morris has like around 2 feet, like whatever. But my shoulder, but nobody teach me. But and if then Alexei Mishin, professor, start to teach kids like that to do. But you're supposed to have very strong ankle
Okay.
to not break it.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
What do you think about Daniel Grassl's air position? He looks up in the air as he's jumping.
Yeah, I don't remember her name. One of the Canadian lady, she was Canadian champion, but she skate like my age a little bit. Like I almost done career, but she skate. Daniel like stay like this. She did like that.
Oh, Mirror Young did that. Yeah.
Maybe Mirror Young. Yeah. Depends. He feel comfortable, you know. If we try to start to teach everybody to this, I don't know. For her, this is work. For Daniel, this work. For if I ask somebody to do it, like I do spinners, and like I do a little bit revolution like Billman, and then ask to do double axel on the floor, and they confused. Because it's so dizzy. I said, this is why we need to do it and working, not be dizzy.
Were you shocked at how high up Jason Brown was able to finish without any quad jumps?
No, I'm not shocked.
Okay.
I'm not shocked. He's very good skater, very good skater. I told you, if you one quad for Jason, nobody beat him.
With one quad?
One quad. For example, 2 quad toe loop, he's put it in his program. And he counted points.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you put the 2 quads in the program, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable skater.
Mm-hmm. What do you make of Jun Hwan Cha?
Jun Hwan Cha, I teach him a little bit in East West, and I call him June, July, August.
Yes, because of his Instagram.
he's put it Instagram like the same.
Yes.
June, July, August.
Yeah.
Raphael back then he's not taking, and then pack the case and go to the Orser. He's similar like Yuzuru Hanyu, but he is growing and he looks like man. But for how says it, Russian system, Soviet Union system, we point even this day. I jump in a scale and look how much I gain for do nothing right now. I just try to be in the shape every day too. Jump on a scale. Oh, I gain like 10 pounds. Okay, Slava, that's it. You not eat the rest of the week. Just drink water with honey and run in the ocean. You lose weight.
Interesting.
Yes. And last Olympic, I was in a room with Sergei Dudakov and their team, and they show me actually in computer, they in Olympic Village and control people what they do in the Moscow. For example, back then, this is young Kamila Valieva and this young generation. And they, even Olympic Village, they control everything in every practice. Substitute coach also, they go on the Skype and they to do it this. And after the lunch, Medvedeva and Zagitova go to the room and jump on a scale.
Wow.
During the Olympic game.
But
and
is
they track it on the computer, you're saying?
No, a computer, young generation. They control young generation. And Olympic Village, Zagitova and Medvedeva go to
remotely.
The room. Yes, because this is discipline.
Yeah. So do you think their concern about that is because they think the rotation is faster? What has always confused me is when people have said that their coaches want them to be a smaller size, is I would think as an outsider that you need so much energy and muscle for the strength to go up and
it doesn't matter what size. You need to, like a boxer, they have like this muscle, they say, but what they practice, jump rope very fast. This is grusha, I don't know how they call it. They put it in a very fast. The same we have exercises, we need to work in fast for arms to go to the jump. And also on the sand, like a sprinter, we need to like this power, like 100-meter sprinter. With the same power. Figure skating, very difficult sport. I play hockey, I play soccer, I golf, everything. Figure skating, most of the difficult sport. Because you have supposed to be artist, powerful, because pressure in the jump, like Formula One, like look like nobody, they drive it, that's it. No, they working every day in the gym and for this track, and they have a lot of pressure too. If it will be easy, they will be not pay like for even golf, very hard to sport, because every week on the TV and they have prize money, $11 million for big event. Is they not pay just because this easy. Very hard.
Yeah. Well, what was the highlight of the men's event for you?
Highlight. Nathan Chen.
Yeah.
You know, I was also impressed as we talked about like age and progression and all these things. I was curious to get your take on Boyang Jin, because Boyang Jin is someone who was doing all these big jumps sort of a while back. And I can't help but wonder if he stayed because the Olympics were in China. It was really impressive to me at this age in his career, after he's done so many jumps, to land like a quad Lutz like that with that height. I mean, do you think that at some point, like the body will just say, no, thank you, please stop doing quads?
No.
I'm just, okay. Okay.
No, there's some, for example, Johnny Weir. He is like he start late to skating, 11 or whatever, what 10 or 11.
Yeah.
14 he became junior world. As because he wants to do that, he wants to. And for example, for Chinese guy, he's young, learned this quad lots. I guess, I don't know what's going on in China. I've been over there in the show 2000, 2002, in the same facility where they have dormitory and whatever. But you learning quad lots this young age, young generation, I don't know, they have 2 billion people. I don't know why not find it more skaters and to reach this is top leader in China.
Yeah.
But I think because they kind of do, this is person, that's it. And the rest of the people just stay beside, and then when he's done, you go to the this is doesn't work. You're supposed to be give it to sometimes in young generation also catch this leader and then pass them.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Like this is what's happening pair. They was happening pair skating. And right now also pair skating, pair skating slow down also. They have system like Denis Petrov, like Olympic silver medalist with Bechki, you know him. He's working right now in China. And they have own facility and with Liu Chen, they working together with Liu Chen. And then he says like one from federation come to him and like young guy who just start to do all triple jumps. And they said, he going to dormitory in Benji. Then he said, okay, what can I say? Okay, he's going in dormitory in Benji. Means, for example, tutberidze has like several coach for when young kids, like pyramid, they have pyramid. 6 coach over here, 4, 5, 6 coach here, and they have 3 coaches on top of the one they pick her up, like similar like Raphael has over here, similar. And this is because this is why Raphael on the top of the coaches and figure skating in the United States. As if they give it to him more to room to move, like I mean, because anyway we have every person has contract. You're supposed to be follow contract, and if you little bit open space. For example, he will be go to like not seminar or somebody come to him and study like they start to do that, and because United States coach thinking about this is my skater. Why they thinking about that? Because this is my money, not like result for skater. This is not result for skater. This is my money. If they go away, this is I'm gone for my money, not for result.
Yeah.
Different system.
Different system. Yes. Well,
then you just need to just win the lottery. Just win the lottery, just like with the quad lots, or the quad axel. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you said that Nathan winning, you said was your moment. You know, when you watched him, did you notice him relax after the program? You mentioned the quad cell. I did notice that as his program went along, he actually seemed to be enjoying his performance.
Yeah, after the South Hub, he is already start to skate like he knows after the South Hub.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Okay.
Before South Hub, he is still shake it. After the salchow, he's no, because even difficult element in second part of the program, lat stolu, but I see he will be doing easier.
Yeah, for sure.
After the lats, and that's it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. This is really interesting to learn from your perspective. Yeah.
What is that?
We were thanking you for coming on. It was really interesting to talk to you.
Okay, you're welcome anytime.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.